Hey there, folks. Shaul here once again with the Village Wood Shop. I deal a lot with reclaimed lumber. I pick up scrap wood off the side of the road. I, go on Craigslist and people are giving away just, junk wood, or at least they call it junk. Well, a lot of that stuff looks a lot like this. And if you can see it up close, you can see this has got about 10 pounds of ugly on it. You can see that. It's not pretty by any stretch of the imagination. Well, I'm not wealthy enough right now to just go out and buy a thickness planer, even if it's off of Craigslist. I got bills to pay and everything like that, and I'd rather pay the bills than, buy a toy. And, for a long time I've been getting by with basically doing my planing and stuff on a table saw. And that's what I'm going to show you here. It's just a little trick that I've done, that I've picked up, that basically allows you to take 10 pounds of ugly off of a board and actually reveal the nice stuff that's underneath. So I'm going to get set up on the table saw here, and we're going to take the ugly off of this. Now, one thing you have to understand, the board has to be straight. Okay, look down the edge of it, and it's going to be straight. Okay, no twists or bows. This one has a slight bow to it, but what can you do? Now, this is not going to bring it to a specific thickness uniformly unless it is totally straight, and it's not going to do the job of a thickness planer, but it is going to beautify the wood. A lot of people like to try to take sander to this rough stuff and go through all the stages of sanding it, and sanding, go with a heavy grit and start working your way up to the lighter grits until you get down to a nice, pretty manageable surface. But, if you're going to build, like I built a cabinet out of a bunch of these, well, if you're going to build something like that, that takes a lot of work. So you need to shorten that time. A thickness planer, you can just feed it right through and it just zips that layer right off of there. But, if you don't have one of those, let me show you what we can do on the table saw. Okay, I'm laying it down here so you can see my beautiful mug here. But, just so we can talk eye to eye. Basically, what you want to do is you want to raise your blade up to a little bit past half of the center point of your stock. Okay, you want to raise it above the half point on your stock. Okay, if you don't do that, then you're going to get a nice little strip running down the middle, and it's going to defeat your purpose. It's just going to give you headaches. You can't have stock that's going to exceed the stretch of your blade. Okay, so I have my blade raised all the way up. What we're going to do, set our board right here against the blade, and we're going to slide this fence right up against the board. Okay, so now we lock it down, take the board out, and we have about 5/8. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this roughly a 1/16 over, right about there, and we're going to run this through. Now, you always want to make sure you got something to push with. Okay, when you get into this zone here, okay, this is called the red zone. In this case, it's the orange zone. Keep your fingers away from here. Keep your fingers away from this painted area. You're going to be good. If you don't, then you won't be able to count up to 10 with both hands. All right? now you see we took that 10 pounds of ugly off the board and we revealed some really nice grain. And if you don't have a thickness planer, that's fine. This is not going to do what a thickness planer can do as far as a totally even surface and everything, but it's going to get you very close. Okay, you can get it to specific thicknesses and everything like that, but well, a lot of times you're going to have some saw marks in here. Like I have one running right here. I'm not sure if you can see it right here. I got it running right here. Now that's going to be taken out with some light sanding, with some 150 or whatever, and basically give you a nice smooth board. But every time you sand, you take a little bit off. Okay, so you're not going to have total precision, but it still beats having to sand, and try to get everything down to a nice, beautiful grain. Okay, so we go from this ugly, to this. And that's just with 2 passes on the table saw. And, well, if you're going to just do a small project out of one piece of wood and you want to sand it and all that stuff, that's fine or whatever. But if you're going to be doing a lot of volume with it, I think this is the best way for you to go if you don't have a thickness planer, because you can clean up this wood rather fast. You see 2 passes and I got a result here. And it takes a lot less sanding. Everything's going to really need to be sanded before you put everything together and put a finish on it and everything else. So I hope that helps you out. So it's pretty simple. But yeah, these are probably about 30, 40 years old, if not older. Okay, these are probably sitting on a fence when I was in high school. And well, they've had their share of sun and rain and snow and all that stuff, cold and hot, and they've gone through a lot. And that's why they've got the weathered, beat up look. A lot of people like that look, and that's fine. If you want to keep that, that's fine. Just do a light scuff on there so you don't have anything flaking off, and then put a good sealer on there, you're good. But if you really want to reveal some nice grain, there you go. Like I said, I built a cabinet out of these slats here. And, well, it takes a lot of slats to do that. And, well, I wasn't about to just sit here and sand every single one of them. That would have really sucked. Even with a belt sander, then you have to go, let's just say, here's another thing. If you're going to go over something with a belt sander, let's just say with 80 grit, well, with your finishing sander, you have to hit it with 60 grit. You have to hit it with a heavier grit in order to get the sand scratch out of there from the belt sander. Okay? So that's another thing. So then that adds another step to it, because you're not going from 80 down to like 100 grit or 120 or 150 or whatever. You're going from 80 to 60, and then you're working your way down. See, if you're using a belt sander to clean up a surface like this. But yeah, this works a lot better, I think. It's worked for me. It's got me some really good results. People have asked me if I've used a thickness planer on the wood that I was using, and it's like, no. I just use this technique. So I hope that helps you out and everything. And always make sure you have a stick to push, something to push the wood through. Stay out of the red zone, okay? You can make one of these real easy. See, just like that. Got a little thing there to push the wood, and you got a surface right here to hold the wood down. And it really works well. This is for skinny stuff that I'm pushing through. This one here is for fatter stuff that I'm pushing through, or if I'm pushing sheets of something through. Okay, this has a little more surface to contact your material. And then when you've got skinny stuff that's close to the deck of your saw, use a push stick, and that always helps. But I just I have to stress, need to keep all your fingers if you're going to do this kind of work. If you're going to be safe, conscientious, pay attention to what you're doing, everything will be fine. One slip up, just one slip up, will take one of your digits. Okay? You got to be very, very careful around the table saw. And you might say, well, why don't you have the guards on here? They've gotten so ridiculous with the guards where you can't even see where the blade is. And I'm sorry, I'd rather see where the blade is so I can avoid it, rather not see where the blade is and just, just have it in the back of my head that I can't see the blade. It's actually scarier for me to work with a saw with the guards on it than it is for me to work with a saw without the guards. Of course, I've been doing this kind of stuff for 30 years, so, I've got a little experience under my belt, but all the experience in the world isn't going to give you steel fingers. So always practice caution. And I know most of you out there are not going to keep the guard on your saw either, okay? But just keep your fingers out of that red zone. Your throat plate is painted for a reason. That's the area you keep your fingers out of, period. I can't stress it enough, okay? They put those guards on there for the people that don't know how to keep their stuff out of the red zone. So, that's it. Take care.